And just 1 second. Okay. Everybody is in attendance. Cool. Today we're here to talk about the Cleverlevel with Kyle Lake from Balmer. And it's being advertised as the Vibrating Fork Killer. I feel like after today's presentation, we're going to learn that these little point switches that we put in the process, they can be used for a lot more than just simple on-off. And that's the point that Kyle is going to make today. So Kyle, without further ado, I am going to transfer control over to you. I'm going to make you the presenter. And feel free to take it away.
Sounds good. Let me. All right. Is it showing my screen yet? For me, it's just showing a microphone. Okay. As Andrew said, my name's Kyle Lake. I'm with Balmer USA. We're going to talk about the Cleverlevel PL20 today. Just a quick introduction of myself. I have a bachelor's in science from in marketing from the University of Utah. Been with Balmer for just over 2 years now, but I have probably closer to 13 years of experience in process instrumentation now. Andrew was impressed that I have 3 girls and a wife, and I still have hair and I'm not just a babbling idiot.
It is crazy. I'm going to have my first daughter, and I just can't imagine having 3. Oh my God. Anyways, sorry, continue.
So those of you that are familiar with the Cleverlevel, you might know the original, which was the LFFS, or the second iteration, the LBFS. We have our 3rd generation, which is the LBFHI, and now we have our newest, the PL20. And one of the things that makes this different than the others here is this adaptive trigger label right here. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to go into that a little bit further here. We do still offer all 4 of these switches now, but we are focusing a lot on the PL20 lately. Adaptive trigger. Our chameleon friend here, you can see he adapts to whatever background he's in and really finds a way to work with what he's got. So just real briefly, we're going to show what the adaptive trigger means here. You can see that the unit in its factory form is being inserted into different media. The green light is not triggered. The blue light is triggered. So we're seeing the blue light right here triggered in the oatmeal. We're going to jump through a couple of these here, hopefully. So we're jumping through a little bit here, seeing different medias. This is rice of some form. Looks like maybe raw hops before it's been pelletized. Some granulars here. Again, we're going to see it switch from green to blue. Jump ahead to some liquids, some sticky medias.
So again, Kyle, this is the same. This is all the same probe, and you can do it in all these different medias. I'm seeing liquid, different types of solids or jellies.
Correct.
And is that like sour cream right there?
I believe it's hand cream, but yep, it's all just the factory settings, original, just right out of the box and hooked up. So we'll kind of go over into the details of what makes this all work right now. So we keep saying adaptive trigger. What does it do? What does it offer to you as a customer? It's going to give you level detection without any configuration. Currently, when you put a tuning fork in, it will just turn on and off, no problems asked. If you looked at some of the other technologies similar to ours, you have to choose a media range ahead of time. Is it going to be dry? Is it going to be wet? Is it going to be bulk powders, or is it going to be liquids? With this unit, we can just take it out of the box, hook it up to a power source, and we're pretty much ready to roll. Some of the other features, again, if we are changing through, there's no configuration needed. We can just go ahead and hook it up, and we're ready to roll. Lastly, if we have our product is going to build up on the tip of this probe. It's self-learning enough that it will tell that adherence, and it'll be able to work through that in its own fashion. So we don't have to worry about cleaning it as often. CIP will certainly clean it in the pipe if it's in a pipe or in a tank. So it's just a time savings to get it up and running and get your process going. Lastly,
it'll tell you if it has buildup. Is that it?
Yep, we can enable it to do that. It actually just what it will do is it'll work through the build up as it happens in its natural state. So we don't even have to do anything with it. And then in the CIP process, if you have it for tank level, part of the problems with tuning forks and some of the others can be that splash on them or the cleaning spray ball when it's going on will cause some issues to the other sensors. So we'll cover real quickly what we have that allows us to not have those issues. So if you order a PL20 directly from the factory or from JMI, I should say, what you're going to get is a switch setup with the adaptive trigger. You're going to get dual switches. We're just looking at switch configuration 1 here, but it's a dual switch device, 24 volt DC, your choice of PNP, NPN, or digital push pull. Once you have it, you can configure it to normally open or normally closed. If you wanted to, it's factory direct. It comes normally open. Disabled advanced settings. The set points we went through as the factory and found that these are the most commonly used ways or setup for this switch. So again, it's very easy to just take it out of the box from JMI, get it hooked up, and you're off and running. If we are part of this 5% that is not going to be just a plug and play device, we do have options for some advanced settings. We're going to go over those now and kind of walk you through what they do and what they have to offer. Steady detection. This is one of the ones that separates us from, say, a tuning fork or the competitor's products is this steady detection. So when we are cleaning with a spray ball in a tank, we have the water coming out. It may run down the wall. It may spray directly on the switch. There's a lot of things that can happen. And the LBFH, our 3rd generation switch here, is similar to the competitors or a tuning fork, a little bit closer in the way it functions. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video and we'll see what happens with the LBFH here.
So this is the old Balmer Cleverlevel, right?
Correct. This is generation 3. Now, if we wanted to, we could go in and tune this and make it work in this situation. But right out of the box, it's going to trip for you and it's going to act like a tuning fork. So again, you can see we're having some issues there with it. We could tune those out, but as a whole, out of the box, it's going to not work right away. With our new PL20.
Wait, that's the last name.
What was that?
Dave Touchette. I didn't know if he was joining us or not, but he was available.
Oh,
anyways,
sorry.
I know you're fine. So this is the new one, right? In a spray ball application, you don't want these to trip.
Correct. Right? If you're not having any level in there. So it's just showing out of the factory, it's going to trip when you're in a liquid. So here we're seeing level actually, and then we're not going to. So part of what makes this work is you may have noticed in the original video, and I forgot to mention this, it took about a second before it switched from green to blue. And that's what we're looking for, is constant presence of a liquid at the tip right here in the peak before it'll switch. So it's about a second, and you'll see again here now, it's in there for a short time, and now we tripped. So that's how we get around those issues with the steady detection. That's built into the tip section, different than, say, a dampening function.
Right. Yeah, you can adjust dampening no matter what. But okay, I gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So our trigger distance, what this is discussing is how far from air or the stable media it moves when it senses something. So in this case, it's looking at water. So if the switch were just held out in air like that has been in most of the demonstrations we showed today, it's seeing a rating of roughly 90.2%. When you insert it into water, it's seeing a 15% movement. So you're seeing a distance of 75% that it's moving. So obviously a big shift. What about something, though, that's a bulk solid that has quite a bit of air to it, something like coffee beans? If we wanted to use this switch in coffee beans, could we do that? So we take a look here, and we can see, again, air is going to be 90.2. And then when we have it inserted into the bulk coffee beans, we're seeing a measurement of about 81.7. So we're seeing a switch or a distance movement of 8.5%. And if we look at the factory settings, we're saying it's 3%. So if we wanted to see this, it's obviously going to in its factory form, but maybe we wanted to avoid these bulk solids, we could change the trigger distance and look for only a finer powder or something like that that's going to be denser and give you more of a movement or a trigger distance. So a set high point, what's that going to offer us? So right now we have it set to 100%. So we're going to see pretty much anything and everything. But perhaps we know we have a foamy product that we're going to have in the tank, and we're going to fill from the bottom, and this is a high level switch. And we know what the foam looks like, and we want to make sure we avoid that foam, because in its current state, it will find the foam and trip on the foam, which is a very common setup with this switch. With the two switches, you can have one find the foam, and then the second one find the liquid behind it. That's one conversation we have quite a bit about tank level is everybody says, I want to find the foam level. Well, they don't necessarily want to find the foam level. They just know if they see the foam level, they know the liquid's right behind it. This switch will actually allow you to do both. And one of the ways to avoid the foam is to change our set high point. So if we change it from, say, 100% to 80%, we know that the foam falls in at, let's just throw a number out there of 90%. This switch isn't going to activate at anything above 80%. It also could be maybe we're mounted in a pipe where we're very tight to the walls, and it's giving us a reading that we're picking up the walls of the tank or the pipe here. We can again change that set point high so we ignore everything around it, and it's only going to look for a larger or anything below 80% threshold.
So that's all in the adaptive trigger, right?
This is the adaptive trigger, but these are the advanced setups. So if you know, we put it in directly from the factory, like I said, we everything we've looked at so far, there's been no issues that the factory settings couldn't take. Even if we went back to, say, the coffee beans here and the trigger distance, we're seeing that's a 8.5% movement, and the factory distance is 3%. So we're going to see that straight out of the box. But if we wanted to fine tune it and say avoid these bulk beans, these bulk beans here, we could use this to tune out the bulk beans and find the powder, or if it was happened to be a mixture of ground coffee and bulk beans, we could use it for that. So these are all the 5% of applications that will not work with the factory settings.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to be clear to everybody that this works with any media, just about, and the amount that you can, this trigger distance, this hysteresis, you can adjust it to where it either reads or doesn't read just about anything. So it just, I mean, it's really, you're going through a lot, but I just want to highlight, like, it's pretty cool. If you are doing beer, it can tell you that it's going to be beer liquid, and then here's when foam is being triggered, here's when foam's not being triggered, and you can set all those sensitivities however you need to be, as accurate as you need to be. So I just want to highlight how versatile you can program these, and of course, JMI and Baumer, we're happy to help you program them. That's what you're talking about, but yeah, you can use them.
And I've got a demonstration here afterwards where we'll go through some of the quick setup that's available with.
Okay.
All right, I think we were right there. Dampening. Now I mentioned dampening earlier, and the steady detection. You can see here the steady detection is set as active, and that's actually right in the measuring tip that this takes place. So this dampening after the fact would be if we're in a filling process, or when the media is moving or sloshing around. It could be in a tote or something like that, or we have a mixer that's, you know, as it's draining it, it might splash it up further on the sides. We can really build in a dampening effect of whatever we want. So you could use it in combination with the steady detection active, or if you want to turn this off and build in your own dampening, and you know that 5 seconds after it starts to see something, you want it to do something or trip a trigger, you can do that. Again, just another added bonus that we allow you to have that really just fine tunes it to your process and what you're doing there. So like we talked about, here's the factory settings again. This is going to be comparing our new adaptive trigger, the PL20. with a factory LBFH, our third generation versus fourth generation. Again,
really
if you had this, and there are instances where,
right, that's what a lot of the competitors are using.
The competition, correct, would be the same as our older technology with the LBFH. So, again, that the LBFH would represent kind of like a tuning fork or anything else. So, and again, here we're going to look at a hand cream with the buildup. So you'll see the unit switches. And again, we have that delay in there for the steady detection. And it goes back to the normal state. Trips. We pull it out, and you can see the buildup here of the hand lotion or the hand cream on there. And again, the competitors' products, they're going to come in, and the buildup there is going to keep it tripped. So we're not getting the results we're looking for. And then the last kind of cool feature we have built into the PL20 with adaptive trigger is an analog output. How many times have we wanted to see what was going on in the pipe and not just get a switch, but know what's going on? Do I have product in here that I don't want in here? Is it the correct product? How far along in the process am I? Some of those things that just, if I could add something in there that could give me a switch and an output, man, that'd be great. Well, now we have it. It's going to give us some media differentiation. It's going to validate what we have in the tank. Is it matching what it should be matching? The other big one is we showed there with that the hand cream, we can get buildup on the tip of a sensor, and we'll still get a switch from the PL20, but maybe I want to know how thick that is. Is it building up too quick? Maybe that's something that's wrong with my process. Then if I'm getting too much buildup on the tip of the sensor, I know I have a problem. So again, just an option to really look inside the pipe or the tank and see what's going on. Also, then you could build in multiple switch points. Maybe you want 3 or 4 different things to happen in the tank. We have 2 switches available in the PL20, but then you want another additional 2 switch points. If you use this analog output, you can put in as many as you want through the PLC and use that analog data to switch things as they happen. This is just showing the wiring and the zoom function of it here, and I'll kind of get into that in my demonstration a little bit. So where are we going to use the adaptive trigger versus the window trigger, which would be the standard product from another customer, where we're going to see a lot of these different things, and we don't want to take the time to set it up. So I want to just pop it into a tank for something that's viscous, low level. When it shows being able to do all these over here with a powdery substance or granules, it's taking into account that you have to pick the right switch to begin with. Same thing with the tuning fork. Did I pick a solids tuning fork ahead of time, or did I pick a liquids tuning fork? Did I pick one that's a NPN or a PNP ahead of time? Those are all things with the competition you have to pick ahead of time. With ours, you can switch in that program between a PNP, NPN, digital push-pull, or the 4 to 20 milliamp output. So small batch sizes, things that come and go pretty quick. We don't want to change the sensor every time. If we're pumping in different flavors of things, maybe we're putting fruit into yogurt. Again, do we want to see maybe there's contamination going on in the process, and we want to be able to see as that happens? So, and then lastly here real quick, the process connections. You can see there's not too many offered. You're getting a G half-inch, you're getting a G half-inch hygienic and NPT. But what we do with our hygienic version or with all these versions is we offer adapters. So if you wanted this in a 2-inch tri-clamp, we have an adapter. If you needed an SMS nut or a Varavent, or you wanted to go to a 1G or a 1-inch NPT, we have adapters for all those as well. So again, we try to cut down on the number of SKUs to make your life easy. You could stock this G half-inch on your shelf, and JMI could have a couple for you as backup, and then you can order it and just swap it out with adapters and all those kinds of things. You're going to be ready to roll.
I imagine you'd save money that way. You'd buy less tri-clamps.
Correct. Yes, you don't have to buy a tri-clamp every time if you had to replace the instrument for some reason, you wouldn't have to buy another tri-clamp. like you would with, say, a tuning fork. It only comes with a tri-clamp, which adds quite a bit of cost to those.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep, I think we've hit about 20 minutes if I had to guess. My timer started late. Did you want to do the demo quick, or do you want to do some Q&A?
So I received word that there are a couple of people that are going to, you have some appointments with some customers afterwards that are attending this webinar. So I'm going to open it up for a general Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we do have a demo planned. But if anybody has any questions, aside from, I think you're going to have a little bit of a call with somebody, we'd be happy to hear from you or in the Q&A. And I'm sorry to the Q&A, but Kyle says he doesn't sing. It's unfortunate. I wanted to hear it too, frankly. So, does anybody have any questions? I think they're all still connecting with the mic. There we go.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll get started on the demo here.
Yeah, I'm getting a notice that they want to talk to you afterwards about an application. So go ahead, start with the demo, and then right around noon we'll be wrapping up, and we'll get you on to the next people. So thanks, though.
Yep, thank you for having me. So hopefully it's showing the right screen here. So what we're showing here is if you wanted to go into the programming with the Flex Programmer, which is a device that allows you to talk to about 95% of the Balmer products. It's going to allow you to walk in and go in here, and I can add a tag. It's going to show you, if I read from the device here quickly. It's going to give me the serial number, when it was manufactured, and all those good things. And then it's going to show me the stock setup, the way it's been ordered. This one was ordered with the 4 to 20 milliamp in it right away. So it came set up that way. This is configurable. I can change this to whatever I want and switch to off of there. But we're going to leave it as a 4 to 20 milliamp right now, and then the PMP. So we can go live with this unit and see things as they happen. So it's kind of hard to see, but let me tip my camera down here and see if you can see. I have little bowls here. I've got milk, water, and a barley type beverage.
We can see that.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I need to kind of see both, but let's see if I can make it work here. So I'm going to put them into the water. You can see it move. Okay,
and I see LED green. So is that the?
Yep. So the green means it's not triggered, and then we put it in there.
Okay, I see the 4 to 20 changed from 20 to like 15.
Correct.
Okay. So you can program that into your PLC as a switch, right?
Correct. Yep. So then we're in the beer here, and you can see it move there a little bit. You can see that the percentages are very close, though, and the 4 to 20 milliamp signal isn't really moving as much as maybe we wanted. And now we're in the milk. So you can see it's really kind of hard to read what's what directly. Now, so I can see my monitor here. Oh, I had it zoomed in already. So that's why we're seeing such a good, I don't know why we're seeing so much. Let's try that again. So we move these back to the factory settings of 100, 0 to 100. So when we place it in here, we see a movement around 18 milliamps. When I go into the beer, it's very similar. And then into the milk. But when I used it the first time, you saw a greater variation. I had it zoomed in already.
So you did it right the first time.
Yeah. So if I go ahead and zoom back in, because I saw that all mine were between 12 and 17. Now when I do it, I get much more movement in my 4 to 20 milliamp, and I'm much more accurate with my readings, and I can tell the difference between the different products.
Yeah, and the resolution on that is pretty incredible. We're zoomed in at, what is that? That's a 5% window and we're reading different 4-20s within that 5% window. Is that right?
Correct. So,
Yeah,
like I said, I have it in the milk right now, so we can see milk shows 4.6 milliamps. And then if you were to start seeing contamination even, so now I put it in water with a little bit of the milk, you can say it's changed the reading of the water originally. So again, a very unique feature that isn't available with anything else. Now it's in the beer, and we can see, again, we're getting quite a bit of difference between the different ones.
So yeah, so you can do switches, or you can do this 4-20 output, and you can zoom in and even detect minor changes if you want to. Does anybody else have this 4-20 feature?
No, nope, we're the only ones. And I've been challenging customers left and right to try to find different applications where they can use it in. Like I said, for me, one of the big ones we're looking at is in the heat exchanger. You know, one of the concerns is breakthrough. Am I getting different products? So I keep adding a little bit more milk to the water that I'm testing, and you can see it's changing the reading every time. So it's going to slowly pick this up. I know the water should be at, say, a 15. So if I were to zoom in even further, say 14 to 16, I can really find out what's going on with that water and get a great signal out of it.
Can you zoom in 14 to 16% and get down to 2% of the sweep range and still see differences?
Should.
So the frequency sweep, this is the device, how it works. The frequency sweep has a full range of 100%. And now we're looking at 2% of that range, and we're looking at a 4-20 within that 2%. Let's see what that's a very precise. That's interesting.
So, and you can even tell, like now I just have the very tip of it entered in. You can see we're out of range. As I start to insert the tip further, you can see us moving into range.
Yeah. Wow.
And like I said, if I keep adding a little bit more, I'm just dipping the sensor in there. So again, I'm in the milk right now. It's in 12%, so we're not seeing anything. Bring it back in, and I add a little bit more milk, and it's changing our reading again.
Wow.
Actually, it's so much milk that I've gotten it out of the range now.
Did you? Well, you're in a pretty tight range right now. So, wow, that's incredible. Okay. So very, very customizable to the process.
Correct. And it's all, like I said, very simple. We're in the live setup with it now. I can, and if you ever, here's one thing that I do all the time because I like to play with my switches. If I ever get it out of whack and it's just not responding, I don't know how to fix it. You simply do that, and you're back to the beginning, and you can start all over again.
Cool. Well, this is great. Well, Kyle, thanks so much, and I'm really glad we did this remotely, because if anybody has any questions on those settings, I mean, some customers might think this is really cool, but I'm used to using a vibrating fork, and I don't know how to do any of that. The great thing is we've got Kyle. And I know how to do some of those things, but I can always video in Kyle, and we can show his computer, and we can set it up however you want, you know, virtual service, however you want to do that. We can figure that out for you. So,
exactly.
Well, Kyle, go ahead. What were you going to say?
So exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Happy to do this with you. I'm going to let you go. I know there's some people just at 12 on this thing that want to talk to you, so I'll let you go and do those calls with them.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much for doing this, and we'll talk soon.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Bye.